And welcome everyone to another episode of the HappyCast, somewhere between 150 and 200, somewhere in that mark. We don't have Dylan here to correct us at the moment, but wow, it's been quite the roller coaster podcast schedule for all of us. But we are just now getting around to Cocodona, the Cocodona 250, which kind of shattered minds this year, as it became like the de facto Western States of 200 milers. Between the race and the sign-up that just broke the internet, which we alluded to briefly on a previous episode. I don't remember. There's been a lot of stuff going on. But as always, joined by the lovely and incomparable Stephanie Stonebreaker. We get along well. It's great.
Poor Katie has listened to us fight because he's trying to cross my boundaries again.
I'm trying to irritate her. So this is our second attempt at recording. Because it didn't go so well in the beginning. And unfortunately, the person that mediates us is not here. Dylan.
So that's you, Katie. That's going to be you have to mediate
I got it.
Yeah.
Got
Katie's going to have to mediate us this episode because Dylan couldn't make it. Unfortunately, he's out of town. He went to a Craigslist meetup, which is exactly what you think it is. It's where a bunch of professional and chronic Craigslisters users convene at a large parking lot. Outside of an IKEA where they just talk nothing and socialize and eat Swedish meatballs. It's the largest convention of its kind in the country, but ironically and unsurprisingly, about half the participants there were robbed at gunpoint, which, what a shocker. We have yet to determine what side of that Dylan was on, so Dylan, if you're out there, either remain safe or shame on you for what you've done. We have no idea. But yeah, so Dylan's out. Hopefully he'll be back next week. But it's just Stephanie and I, but we're joined by the most recent Cocodona finisher on this podcast and a longtime listener, a professional podcast listener, because I've seen her name popped up everywhere and she's been on some herself. And someone I had the pleasure of seeing at Cocodona 250 this year. So first and foremost, congratulations to this woman, but we're joined by Katie O'Connor from somewhere around or in Chicago, Illinois. I'm just taking a stab in the dark. But yeah, welcome to the HappyCast for the first time, Katie. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
On here.
Thank you.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. And I actually am in Chicago. I'm not like Naperville, Chicago. I'm Chicago. So
people always get like a little offended. It's it looks like their Instagram says around Chicago, but then you're like, no, I don't even know any other neighborhood in Chicago, so I can't even guess.
Yeah, Naperville's like a big suburb that likes to claim they're Chicago, but they're not. So
but you're pure Chicago, nothing
pure
else.
Pure Chicago.
Like the bear or whatever. That's mine. But yeah, thank you for joining us. So it's been almost a month since the end of Cocodona. I had the pleasure of seeing you at least once at Fort Tuttle at Cocodona, you and your crew. So that was somewhere around mile 220, and you were just looking fresh. You looked clean. It looked like you just took a shower, not only physically but mentally, because you were just happy, full of life. And
that's because you had talked to me off a ledge. That's the only reason I looked happy. I always am happy to see my crew, but so you saved me mentally a little bit there.
So for those wondering that have done Cocodona or interested, Cocodona, the Air Vipa team does a great job at releasing course profiles for each section, but it sounds like they didn't fix one of them, or at least it's blown out of proportion. And that's the one from Fort Tuttle to the next aid station, which I think is Walnut.
Walnut.
And it looks like there's the world's second largest climb outside Eldon in the middle of it. It turns out to be a nothing burger, and I remember freaking out about it when I did it, and that was 2 years ago. It turns out it's probably the same. Katie was worried about that, but it turned out to be nothing. Was that correct, or was it still something?
Yeah, I think I was worried about the big descent that also looked like it was coming after that ascent because like my knee was starting to bother me pretty bad on the downs, and it literally looked like you were going off of a cliff, like just boop, walking straight down. And I was like, how am I going to do this? And I'd already had like a full blown meltdown with my pacer best friend before we came in there. I was like, I don't want to go out on this section because this year you had to do it solo, and I didn't want to be by myself at night, and all the emotions, all the feels. But yeah, came in. I mean, I knew I was going to do it. Like, what are you going to do? You have to get through it, but I didn't want to.
Okay, so I have a question about your
Yeah,
emotions
yeah.
because Andrew alluded to this for something. I can't remember what episode it was on. So when you are in your feels, are you just like whiny? Because that's how I am. I'm just like whiny. Or are you angry? Because Andrew says he hates his pacers.
Yeah, no, I don't get either. I get quiet. Like my friend was like, "You seem quiet. What's up?" And I was like, I'm thinking about this section. It's 16 miles long. It's at this mileage, I'm moving like 16 miles could take me 8 hours. I've started to spiral. Like it could
Your
take me so long. I'm
an
moving
internal
slow. Like,
meltdown.
And so then she's just like, asking me more questions and we're trying to process it. And then she's like, don't keep it in. And then I was like, okay, here you go. And I just bawled. I was like, I need a hug. So we like hugged it
Oh,
out, hugged it out on like the road that's leading to this aid station. And I was like, I don't quit. I'm not quitting. I really need to express how like I don't want to go out and do this by myself. I think if it had been daylight, I would have been still apprehensive to want to go by myself, but I would have been not as scared to go. Because like also in the description, besides having this like weird cliff looking, elevation profile, they say it's like notoriously easy to get lost because there's a lot of turns. And so I'm like, oh, cool. I'm gonna be by myself in the middle of the dark, not knowing where I'm going and get lost. And then yeah, like on distance to MD, Kevin has mentioned how many times he's like absolutely gone out of his mind bonkers, like just lost it in this section. So I was like, no one has anything really good to say. So when I came in and then Andrew, we recognized each other and he came over to my crew spot, he was like, no, 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 let me tell you about this profile. So it was like the one bit of good information that I had to hold on to before setting out into the darkness.
no matter how much me and Andrew argue, when I run with him, he is like calming for me, which is
Yeah.
so interesting. So I can imagine how he could have like brought you down for a
Yeah.
I
minute.
get
Yeah.
out all my social interactions either on this podcast or around a race, but during a race, I'm just
Yeah,
like,
he's
I shut
chill.
down a bit and I'm just like pretty chill. Looked like I
Yeah.
just took a hit of something apparently, which I don't do, especially as a medical professional. That's the last thing I want to do. So that section, and we'll loop around to the beginning of this, but yeah, that section, when I did it, Rachel Moore paced me, and I was in a pissy mood because I kept expecting this big climb and descent. Even like a few miles away from the aid station, we were like, it's gonna happen at some point.
Yeah.
Even Rachel was looking for it. So I was in a bad mood the whole way, just waiting for it. And it never came. So when I eventually saw my crew and got a hug by Jackie Cox, Andrea Moore's partner, I was like, wow, okay, well, I was in a good mood again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I was expecting. Also, that section does kind of suck alone. This year, you had to do it alone. No pacers allowed, because as
No
we all know,
pacers.
this is now the Spotted Owl race. Cocodona is
Yes.
officially sponsored by the Owls.
I should have
Um,
worn my owl t-shirt.
yeah, you got one? Yeah, so the
I
Spotted
had to.
Owls wreaking havoc on that course. We'll see how much more they take away in the coming years' editions of this race. But Katie, I want to backtrack a bit. You did Bigfoot 200 as one of your first, or as your first 200 miler.
Hmm.
And I remember talking to you about it because I was going to do it, and that turned
Yeah.
into a shit show. But and I know you've talked about it before. But what made you, after doing Bigfoot, what put Cocodona on this list of you for what you wanted to do next?
Yeah, Bigfoot for me was just like, it's your first 200. It's kind of like your first 100 always has a special place, or your first, anything, right? Has its like memory. And I'm a big green fan. If you can, I have like everything I own is green besides the fact that I'm wearing a black sweatshirt.
It's one of my
So just
favorite
like
movies of all time, by the way.
what the
Big
what?
Green. You never heard of the
Oh,
Big Green?
no,
The
no.
soccer, the kids,
Oops.
90s kids soccer movie. Okay, apparently
No.
there's an age
I'll
difference.
watch
Anyways,
that later. So,
don't watch it.
and you're just like in this big green, like fairy tale land for all of Bigfoot. And so it was so crazy and so epic. I didn't want to do something that would be remotely comparative to it, right? I just wanted to kind of keep it in its own little bucket. And so Cocodona just seemed so different, right? Like luscious, Pacific Northwest. Next up, here's my one cat. This is Larry. Um,
Wow.
and then going into like the desert, so I was like, this is going to be completely different. What was kind of funny though, obviously you kind of alluded to the weather this year. It was like 100 degrees at Bigfoot, which it doesn't get. So I lived in shorts and a t-shirt the whole race. Whereas Cocodona this year, it's the desert and we got Pacific Northwest weather. So it was just like, what the hell? But yeah, that was kind of why I chose it. I didn't want to compare, and I figured, okay, it's 200 miles now, it's 250 Pacific Northwest versus the desert. So that was why.
I don't know how you're able to talk so well with that cat's ass in your face the whole time.
This
It
is
just
how
it
we
didn't
live life
it
here.
didn't
Yeah, this is
muffle
just,
any sound or anything. It just and it's still going too. It's
hmm.
it's
Oh yeah.
amazing. So how did you prepare for this race? Because I'm friends with you on Strava. Just a lot of flat looking stuff, not much option out there. So
No,
how
I mean,
how
it's like you all, I mean, we don't get, we have
too
to really be creative to get stuff in. And I mean, I think you all were kind of talking too, like this winter just sucked. I mean, it was just the worst you could possibly try to train through. And it wasn't like we had a shit ton of snow or it was 20 below zero or anything. It was just constantly not great, like freezing rain, cold enough where you're just kind of miserable, just like the gray gloom forever and ever and ever. So I felt like while it wasn't the worst winter we've had, it was bad enough where I was on the treadmill a lot, which you can at least get some vert on the tread. But, I had like a 6 hour treadmill run. Like nobody wants to do that, yeah, 6 hours.
why?
Like because I had to get so I literally I was like the calendar had turned. So it was like 2025 was like my first it was the first weekend in January. I did my first long like big long run of the year outside and was miserable. I was like, this is the worst long run of my entire life. Um I just was like, what am I doing? Why did I set this? Why did I set myself a spring goal that was like so huge that I have to train this hard through the winter? So I was like, forget it. I'm just going to go on the treadmill because at least I can watch something and I can do some vert and I have all my snacks, right there versus having to cart them around. So it was, in hindsight, it wasn't as bad as the horrible outside long run. But no joke, I was on trail 3 times before Cocodona. That's it.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad.
But
But
if your coach gives you a 6 hour run on the
mhm.
trail, you can fuck around. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
like sit down for
Yeah.
your snack. On the treadmill,
Yeah.
you have to like you since your snack is right there, you feel like you
Yeah.
have to like keep moving while you eat your snack, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I let myself get off. Like, if obviously I had to pee, I'm not going to pee myself. But I got off if I had to pee, and I gave myself like a break every 2 hours to just get off and like not be moving. So, but yeah, that was
That's some
that
grit right
one.
there.
That was crazy. And then I did Raccoon, which I should have realized was foreshadowing for the mud and rain at
Oh,
Cocodona. And then I had the training weekend out in Arizona the month before. But like those were my three big trail, like the shitty trail run I had in January, Raccoon, and the training weekend.
That's
But
what I kind of want to ask about because you were one of the most active individuals I saw on the Cocodona running group page. You went to the running meetups. You got to preview the new sections that were rather terrifying. You guys kind of
yeah.
put some fear into me, and I wasn't even running it this year. The Hangover Trail, which I know we talked
Yeah.
to Rachel about, but so. Um, yeah, were you just really, what was your mentality going into the race? Was this kind of an anxiety driven thing or is it just your curiosity? Is this who you are as a runner? You want to kind of tackle as much as you can regarding the race before you see it? Because I'm someone that likes to go in never touching the trail ever.
Yeah. So
So,
literally, I'm lucky. So the my one pacer who's like my run buddy and stuff, she knows me like nobody else. And so we were talking about it. I was like, signed up for Cocodona. I signed up for the training weekend. What do you think I should do? Because it was kind of cool for Bigfoot to be like, I don't know what's coming next at all. Like you knew the basically like the descriptions, but also Destination Trails descriptions are kind of special. Like they don't really give it to you straight. You know what I mean? Like they're letting you kind of just figure it out. And she was like, I know you have to go. If you have the opportunity to go see some of this trail, you have to see some of this trail. I think so for Bigfoot, it wasn't even like an option. Like it's such a farther flight. There was no actual training weekends that anybody put together. So for Cocodona, I think because they offered it, I was like, I might as well take advantage. And then because she was able to come out with me, we were like, well, we might as well stay in Sedona because it's beautiful and we'd never been there before. And it's like, who knows what state of mind I'll be in going through, Sedona in the race. I might as well see it when I'm like fully conscious and, have slept. So it was like, well, okay, now we're in Sedona. There's that new hangover section. We might as well check that out too. So it ended up being a huge advantage, I think, because I knew I was solid to carry the amount of water I wanted to carry for day one. And then also being able to see hangover was like, I thought for me clutch. Like, and I just wanted to be real with people on Facebook. I hope I didn't like start anything, but it was scary AF for us,
Go
and I
ahead.
think
Instill the fear into everyone. How scary
it
was
was
this?
it
Because
was scary. It was scary. I think if you were to come up on it at that moment in the race, for a lot of like the middle of the Packers, right? Like it would have been the night of maybe night three, morning of night four. And as soon as we saw it and did it, we're like, there's no way in hell we're doing this at nighttime. Because I mean, you're scrambling. You are on poles are away, you are on hands and feet. And if you make a wrong step off this rock, you're dying. I mean, I don't know how or you're having massive injuries. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing around you to stop you from, so you're just like, okay, this isn't so bad now because it's, we've slept and it's a fresh morning and oh, look, whatever, we had all this coffee. But then you start to think about like, what is a 160-mile in Katie going to be like, and for your pacer too, like if someone has like a massive fear of heights, how, I don't know what your initial thought going into it and not seeing it before would have been, and it's crazy. I feel like even some of the other podcasts I listened to it was cool to hear like Rachel's thoughts on it and some other of the pros that were even a little like kind of scared of it because you're just like, is it just me because we don't have this stuff in our backyard or is it actually scary? And to hear some of them also say it was actually scary is helpful,
yeah, and I know I mentioned it on the Rachel episode, but the fact that like Kevin Goldberg said that
Yeah.
like not now, but maybe in the future someone may die. But
Yeah.
also I was told that people are saying the same thing about some of the sections Arizona Monster, especially Mount Lemon. So like I was frozen in fear for a few minutes there. So the Hangover Trail comes across as rather scary for me. I haven't seen it, but
It's
I
beautiful though. It is
yeah,
absolutely beautiful.
at that point in the time, I don't know how you are, and Stephanie, I don't know how you are. After a certain mileage, nothing is beautiful to me anymore because I'm so not that I'm being just like angry and just a bitter old man. I'm just so focused on me physically and just pushing through, and I don't start to enjoy the beauty around me as much just because I'm so inwardly focused. So at that point, maybe I wouldn't even notice like the beauty. Like again, I saw a bear Tahoe at like mile 140, and I thought nothing of it. And I told my pacer, Mo, just whatever, dude, just keep going. But are you two like Stephanie and Katie? Like, are you guys kind of the same way, or are you still able to pull in and see the beauty in things when you're in the pain cave? Because I can't. And I'll let you go first, Katie.
Um, I'm most of the time still able to see the beauty in it. There was a couple of times my pacers had to both be like, okay, I know we're suffering right now, but look around. Like, remember, this is what brought you here, And so I've had to be reminded for sure. But part of that is part of why I do these things. So it is like, because it's cool to be able to experience. I'd never been to Arizona since I was like a little kid, seeing the Grand Canyon. So it was like, how cool to be able to traverse from Phoenix to Flagstaff and see it all on my 2 feet, So I'm usually there, but I do have to be reminded sometimes.
What about you, Stephanie? Did you find the beauty at the end of Cruel Jewel?
So I feel like, I'm on the crazy spectrum because I was crying with my parents in my ear and Jenny was like, "Look at this view." And immediately I smiled and posed for a picture. So I feel like I can appreciate, like, I can ebb and flow. Like, I can cry and then be okay and then cry again. And then, so I can't appreciate it. But I do agree with when you're really tired and you're just one foot in front of the other, you're not really looking around because that's when you kind of get nervous. If I take my eyes off the trail, like I remember that at
Hmm.
Tahoe because I thought that, like, if I look to the side, then I'm gonna like slip or fall.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Katie, who was your crew for this race? Because I saw a few of
Yeah,
them at
so
Tuttle.
Yeah, Julie is my crew chief. She's a good friend here from home. She actually celebrated her birthday out there, so she's a good friend who
Wow.
celebrates birthdays in the middle of a friend's race. And then my best friend Jamie, and then my other good friend Becca were my pacers. So they were my two pacers. And then my husband and my daughter came out. So Bill and Gwen came out as
Did, did I see
support too.
your did I see your daughter out there? I did, didn't I?
She
I don't
was, well,
remember.
maybe
There's
somewhere. She was sleeping at Fort Tuttle, which was probably for the better, because if she had seen me look like I might have been upset, then she would have gotten worried. And then I would have been more upset that she was going to worry about me. So it was probably better. Yeah, she was sleeping at that one, but all the other ones, she was pretty much there to greet me for. So it was cool.
Yeah, so let's go to the beginning of this race, the infamous 50K. I always like to ask people about this. You were able to test it. How was
Mhm.
beforehand? How was doing it first compared to doing it during the race? Completely different weather during the
Yeah.
race with some of the rain. Apparently, it hailed on some people out there. So can you just kind of take us through one? How was it when you did the test training run out there, and how was it on race day?
Yeah, the training run. Again, I think it was cool because you had that. I don't know how bad is it going to be, right? Everyone describes things differently, right? Like challenging to somebody might just be, oh, that was hard for somebody else, you know? So I was just kind of curious to see how bad is it going to be. Um, and it's pretty rough. I mean, I like to climb. Like I'm not a great descender at all. So more climbing the better for me. So I was kind of like, cool, I like to climb. I think what I didn't expect was how it's just rocky the whole flipping way. Like just rocks. Like I think I overheard somebody talking about it on the training run who had done this race already. They were like, yeah, I describe it as a staircase littered with different size rocks for 37
Mm-hmm.
miles. And that's what it felt like. I think that's what beat me up more was like my feet hurt so bad on the training run and I didn't know how to I was like, there's no way to fix this. Like, I can't train on rocks for the next month, to get my feet tougher. I'm already wearing these like ginormous ultra Olympus shoes. How much more cushion can I throw at myself? So I was like, well, my feet are just gonna hurt. Um, that was really the biggest thing I think that shocked me. It's hard. It wasn't, I think, as hard as some people do talk it up to be. I can imagine it being extremely hard if it's 90 degrees out because there's just no shade. So we were lucky to have cooler temps on day one for sure. But man, I mean, everybody talked about how much their feet just took a beating, whether it's just the bottoms of your feet hurting from the rocks or just like not being able to step on stable footing for so long. So your foot is just constantly like not flat on the terrain. So that I think was the harder part. I went into the race then thinking, okay, you can't think about this as being this awful thing you have to do. You have to like somehow enjoy it. Otherwise, your whole first day is just going to be like miserable. So I think what was cool compared to the training run to the race was like the training run also wasn't marked. So a bunch of us went off course a couple times and
Scary.
like yeah, and you're like, where the hell am I? And it was also I think only like 30 or 40 people. So at some point, you're kind of by yourself, like just naturally, right? Whereas with like the race, I was constantly with somebody. So if you wanted to have conversation to kind of break up the climbs, you could, or it was just like, okay, we're all going to grind this out together and no one's going to talk. So I think it was like a little bit better of because there was more people around, like you got a little bit of that kind of like, I'm going to take my mind off of this by learning where, Ben is from and what he's doing, or, oh my gosh, like Aaron, I saw you at the training run. Let's chat again. So kind of like that people interaction kind of helped break up the day one a little bit more, I think, than the training run did. And I just kind of kept thinking like, you just need to get to Crown King because like you've seen it on the live stream and how cool is it going to be to get to that point. So my feet still killed me. I didn't fix that problem, but I think we didn't get a ton of blisters. I didn't have any hot spots. It was just I think the pounding of the feet on the rocks for 12 hours was the hardest thing.
So I heard it was a muddy mess the entire time, and I'm sure you're very aware of the infamy of going down Mingus Mountain as
Oh yeah.
well. I joked that a lot of us that have done Cocodona when we did Arizona Monster, the descent down Mount Lemon was like, okay, this is a lot harder than Mingus. Mingus
Oh
is gonna.
really?
I was like,
Ooh.
Mingus is gonna be easy. Like to everyone that does it, it's just like they're gonna enjoy Mingus more now. And then I feel like I joked that the gods overheard everyone. It was like, well, fuck you guys. We're gonna do a downpour on Mingus, and now make it like the worst thing ever. It's the reason why a lot of people ended up DNFing later in the race. So the Mingus descent, that's the other section I want to ask you about before we ask some more specific questions. How was that for you? And were you aware of its infamy beforehand?
Yeah, I mean that like besides wanting to kind of learn how that first 37 was like, yeah, the descent down in Jerome, you're just curious, like how bad can it be, right? But yeah, no, it was pretty bad. Um, I think too, just I'd also heard then, oh, but there's this beautiful, if you time it right, there's this beautiful sunrise when you are coming into Jerome. Like it just looks beautiful. So thankfully, our timing worked out that we were descending down when we were going to see sunrise. And it was like a little bit of actually the sun maybe coming up for the first time in a couple days, which was also awesome. We knew we weren't like in the clear, but it was nice to see a glimmer of the sun, a beautiful sunrise, and then literally it was just like all the clouds came back, and at that point the trail had already been a disaster from the rain we got for the first night. So yeah, I mean everyone says it's just rocky and slow. And so it was rocky and slow, and then it just had this mud. Like Arizona mud just hits different. Like I'm assuming our mud here in Midwest is kind of probably similar to your all's mud, where it's just like it cakes on, but it's wet and you can kind of like flick it, like as you're moving, it kind of
Hmm.
flicks off your feet. This shit was just on, it was like concrete on your shoe. I mean, literally my pacer and I, we had a laugh. Like it was Becca through the section, and she had gone, she sadly also got the out of Fane Ranch to Mingus with me. So that whole cattle field was just disgusting and full of just this thick mud. And then, we did the Mingus climb and then come down to Jerome, and it was more of this stuff, but it was almost more like getting to be like that red clay. So, I mean, I have several pictures of our shoes just being like inches around our feet of just this shit clay that just, and then it just starts feeling heavy. You're like, oh my, I
Yes,
already
that's
wear
what I
like
was
a
about to
10 and a
say.
half shoe. And I mean, my friend makes one of my shoes. They look like moon boots. Those, I don't know if you know like what the Ultra Olympus looks like, but they're a mammoth shoe. So then you throw this like inch of, clay mud around it. I mean, and I'm like walking around with like, cinder blocks on my feet. So it was so heavy. And I think that actually ended up leading to my knees hurting, like my lead leg, especially because you're just like, there was several times where we joked, it sounded like your shoe was going to just is going to be gone. Like you're going to leave, you're going to step to take another step and your shoe is going to be two steps behind you because it was so thick. And I wish I caught his name, but it was hilarious. We were kind of leapfrogging with another gentleman and his pacer, and his pacer said it so perfectly. He's like, this is like walking through peanut butter. And it was. It sounded like it. I wished it tasted like peanut butter. And it was just constant for the however long that stretch is going down until you get to the road part of Jerome, just mud, like thick mud.
Well,
So
what
you're
did it taste like
sliding.
then?
I know. I didn't get to. Well, actually,
Yeah.
you know what? I did fling some in my eye somehow. I'm like, how do you fling mud in your eyeball? I don't know. But I had mud all over me. I was kicking up mud like I like it was my job. And if you looked at my pacer's body, like she didn't have anywhere near as much mud on her. I was like, what did I do? But I was covered in mud and I didn't
Did you
fall. But it
fall?
was pretty
No, you
brutal.
did not.
No, no, I just was flicking mud all over
Wow.
myself. But
It's
but yeah, it was a gnarly section with the
did
mud made
you
worse.
did you fall or have an accident at all during this race?
I did not.
Yeah, it's
I did not fall.
surprising. Did you have one
Yeah.
during Bigfoot?
Nope.
Because
Mm-mm.
I don't either. I
Yeah.
had maybe like two overall in these 200 milers, and they were all instant. I busted open my knee for the first time in months, even before Arizona, just walking.
Yeah.
Like the other day with
Yeah.
Regina, like we're just walking 20 feet outside, like to go get food, and we had to come back and bandage it up. It was embarrassing, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
knock
funny
on
how
wood.
that
I
works.
almost fell. Like I caught myself. I almost fell in Buffalo Park, which would have been really stupid.
That's embarrassing.
That close.
That's
Yeah.
Stephanie.
But
That's
I
the
I
very
caught
end
it.
of the
Yeah,
race.
that's the very end.
It's you're in Flagstaff. It's flat.
You're like done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Speaking
almost
of
fell.
going into Flagstaff, one last question regarding specific parts of this course, the changes. You're now going
Yeah.
up a different side of Eldon, and you're going down the steep side we used to climb. How was
hmm
that?
Oh my God. Going up was awesome. Again, I like to climb. At that point, my body liked climbing. So we were just, yeah, and I was with my pacer, Jamie, who's known as the closer in my crew. So she always runs me home. And so we're just like, all right, we'd gotten some kind of intel on like my placement in the race. 'Cause at this point, my time goals had gone out the door. So we're like, okay, what else can we kind of dangle as a carrot? So we were like trying to make it under top 25 female. So we're like on a mission. We're like, let's fucking go. And so we're just climbing, we're climbing. And then you kind of are like, oh, we're still climbing. Like it was a very long climb, but the trail was also perfect considering there was not a ton of rocks and there was no mud. So the grand scheme of things, the trail was glorious, but it's just a lot of climbing. I don't remember how many miles it was, but it just felt like a long time. And you kind of go up and you're like, oh, there it is. There's Eldon. Oh, we're going to wiggle over to the right longer first. And then we're going to come back. Nope, we're not there yet. Like you kind of just kept thinking you were going to get there. And we actually took an accidental selfie, sending it to the crew saying, like, we're hit the top. And I'm like, this doesn't seem right. Like in my head, I'm thinking, I've seen this live stream. I know we got to get to these towers, like we're not at these towers yet. And so then you turn again and you're like, oh, okay, now we have another mile to get to these like this big fire road that takes you up to the like where
Yeah.
what it looks like the typical picture you've seen of like those weather towers or whatever up there. Um, yeah, the wildest thing was like it was freaking windy. Like I can't imagine doing that
Mm-hmm.
at night. Like because they make you
Mm-hmm.
take, we were climbing again. The universe was really we had great timing overall. So we were climbing that, in the daytime, in the morning, but leaving. I think it was Wildcat. They make you put all your like emergency stuff in. So like we're carrying a puffer and the all the things, even though it's 75 degrees and sunny, and it's like we're starting at 10 in the morning. They're like, nope, just in case. And it's like, okay, now obviously I get why. Like you're going up to the top of a mountain, but I would say the wind gusts were like 50 something plus. It was wild. Like you're on this little trail and you're like getting way up there and the wind is just whipping. But it was beautiful. Like the views were awesome. And you're like, holy shit, now we have to go down to Flagstaff. And so we kind of had this like high moment. I'm one of those people that's like obsessed with trail signs. So I made her take a picture by the Alden Lookout sign and we're like, yes, okay, now we're finally here. We shoot a message out to the crew. And then you kind of think, oh, cool. I just have this downhill and then I'm in Buffalo Park and then I'm at the finish. Like, yeah, we made it. And then you turn a couple corners and all of a sudden you're on the descent that everyone has now talked about what they used to go up, which are these ginormous boulders, like
Mm-hmm.
huge, like size of house, like a stove. Like I'm trying to think of things in my, like a size of a big ass old TV, like just boulders. We had our first mile going down. And granted, at this point now, my knee is really not happy with me going descending and it's like the boulders you can't really use your pole, so those are kind of useless too, so you're kind of having to go on your butt or like use your hand. We had like a 45, 46 minute mile, our first mile going downhill, and you're just like, what the hell? So it kind of like took some steam out of it, to be like, we're getting so close, and then you're like, no, I'm not, and you're like, how many miles of these boulders are we gonna have?
And it's just an endless
So
switchback
ugh,
too. Just
forever,
just all
forever. And you
switchbacks.
can see Flagstaff, but it's not getting any closer. It's still
Mm-mm.
small down there. And so it's frustrating. But I'd made the decision. I was like, no matter what the last day brings, I'm going to enjoy every minute of this because I'm going to be sad when it's over. So we'd get frustrated and then we'd be like, nope, 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 we're going to enjoy this. Yeah, it was brutal going down, like brutal, absolutely brutal. I think I'd rather go up that way, but I don't even know. I would never, we were laughing because there was like people just like out frolicking on a Friday. And there's this couple, like have their dog and they like scooted over to let us go by. And they're just like galloping over these rocks. I'm like, who are these people? Like no one should choose this trail to go on unless you have to. Let's put it that way, at least in my eyes. So yeah,
So
it
if it if,
sucked.
if it makes you feel better, there's a group of fresh-legged individuals we were with this year that decided to go hike it for fun, and they had a hard time
Oh,
going up
oh,
that
okay,
way.
okay, okay,
I also did over 1 hour miles when I went up it with Regina, who
okay,
was
okay.
pacing me, who was just holding a coffee cup and looking fresh as hell the entire time. So she gives me shit for that. But yeah, it's extremely windy up
It's
there. The
so
year we did
slow.
it
Yeah.
in the middle of the night, they had to bring
Oh,
an emergency truck once you're on the saddle up to the on the fire road to block the
yeah.
wind for runners. They just drove alongside us.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
because it was that
Wow. Yeah, it's
windy. So
windy. Yeah.
so Eldon is kind of scary. And yeah, it's epic though. I love it. It's a perfect way to end the race. I can't
Yeah, it's a
imagine
great
going
ending. Yeah.
down. I cannot imagine going down that side though.
It
Not
sucked.
just knees blow up. So some quick questions then. Yeah, did you have any brutal low moments that you're willing to discuss with us during this race?
Um, Two big ones. I mean, the one was literally right before you saw me at Fort Tuttle, like just completely bawling on the side of whatever road to come in there. I just was like, picture like a kid in like a Target who just has to like lay down on the floor and get a cry out. I felt like that was me.
Mm-hmm.
um, and yeah, my Jamie was with me and she sends a note back to the crew of like my mental status and they're like, well, should she sleep here? Like, they're giving me options. And I was like, if I try to lay down, I'm in a spiral. Like I know myself. I'll just sit in this anxiety spiral and never make it out. So I was like, I gotta go. That was one of them. But then I was like, finally getting through that section was then a huge high, because you're like, shit, I'm proud of myself. I made it through, I'm here. Like I did it. I didn't freak out because I like, so Andrew too was like, great. He's like, somebody's got to be ahead of you or someone's behind you. There's no way you won't see somebody. And I'm like, so I held on to that hope also for a bit. So I kept looking way into the head. Like I was like, if there's a headlamp ahead of me, I will freaking run
Yep.
my ass off to catch
Oh
them and just be like, you
yes.
have to work with me. And I kept looking back, being like, there's going to be somebody coming out of the aid station. Nobody for like miles. I was just kept looking ahead, looking behind, looking ahead. I'm like, okay, you have to stop playing this game. There's nobody coming. There's nobody up there. So just suck it up, So I found this like 14-hour 80s soundtrack playlist before I'd left that had like everything. And it started with the Goonies song. So that's why you saw my story that had the
Oh yeah,
Goonies.
the
So I
Goonies.
just had the Goonies song playing from Cyndi Lauper in my head, like over and over and over, and like all these really deep cut 80s soundtrack songs in my ears of my company. Yeah, so getting through that one was a tough one. And then I also had a rough moment going, sadly, Janie was also with me. She got to see me cry a couple times. Won't be the first, won't be the, or wasn't the first, won't be the last. Going into Fane Ranch, like my feet hurting from day one had now gotten way worse because of the mud through night one. So, and I'm like, I don't normally complain about things hurting, but like my feet were already like an 11 out of 10. Like they were, every step I took felt like somebody was like singeing you with like hot fire coals. And I'm like, you can't help but think, oh, my feet hurt really bad. And it's only Tuesday afternoon. We have till, I was hoping to finish Friday, but like this could take me till Saturday. How bad is it going to hurt? You know better to play that game, right? Like we've all got the things and they somehow go numb and they go fine. But I was just having like a freak out moment. So yeah, I think I was just more panicked about how bad they would get. And like, I wanted to build a run later. And what if I can't run? And, I was starting to spiral, but a good cry and then snap back too.
So did you sleep? How many sleeps did you get? How did that look?
Yeah, so my coach was hoping I was going to try to sleep. So like the first night, there's really no crew spots to sleep because you're seeing your people at Crown King, and then you don't get to see them again until Whiskey Row, which is like 30, 35 or 40 miles in between, right? But there's a couple camps you hit, which have these cute cabins. And so my coach was like, if you could try to sleep at one of these camps, because I was supposed to hit there like maybe 1, 2 in the morning. It'd be like perfect time to sleep. But because it was such weird weather, I'd kind of overheard other runners say, oh my God, the cabins are freezing. Like I'm just shivering. I'm gonna just keep going. And so I was like, well, I'm not gonna waste my time trying to lay down. Because all I had on me was like the stuff I was wearing. And I'm like, so there's, and all they have is like those little itty bitty blankets. So you're like, I'm just gonna keep going. So I went to the next camp. At this point, I was like, well, the sun's gonna come up soon. I might as well just go see my crew, like, so I waited off. So I just popped some more caffeine pills and made it to Whiskey Row and slept there. And Cocodona is crazy too, in that like I got them a hotel for that night, which is literally like the aid station's in this middle like courtyard thing, and the hotel is right next door. So like I'm getting into town and they're like, hey, oh my God, amazing. We're gonna send you upstairs, you're gonna take a shower and you're gonna go to sleep. And I was like, what? A
Wow.
shower? Like this is
Mm.
cool. So yeah, so I got to take a
So
shower
you
on
did take a
day two.
shower. No wonder you look so
On
fresh.
Tuesday morning though, you saw me Thursday night.
Okay, yeah. Still
Yeah.
looking good.
But no, so it felt almost illegal though. It felt like you were doing something wrong. I was like, I
Yeah.
shouldn't be able to shower here. This is crazy. And like sleep in a hotel.
It's like
So yeah,
Brandy,
what do I do with
Brandy
my
got to do that.
watch?
yeah.
Brandy got to do that at Badwater.
Oh
There
really?
was one spot where you could rent a room, and
Oh
she got to
dang. I didn't know
shower
that.
and like, oh my God, it
S-
was good for her.
So all
Yeah,
these amazing amenities that Cocodona provides is pretty awesome. Although I
it
think
is.
your thought process is what we all kind of think is just like, I don't, I feel weird doing it, and I'm afraid I'll get trapped in it, or it's false hope. If I go to a
Yeah,
hotel, that's in my head, that means I'm done, but then I still gotta go about there. So it's kind of weird. So
it's
your
weird.
crew,
Hmm.
yeah, how was the things from the crew side? Like, how wonderful, or was there some issues with
Wait a
them?
second, was that the only time you slept though?
Oh God, no. No.
Okay, wait,
I
hold
slept
on. Hold your question.
I, I took a quick nap there, and then I slept Tuesday night for a bit at Mingus. Actually, for a long bit. That was a long sleep. I was really tired. I think I slept 3 hours ish. And then I had a 2 hour, I think, the next night, and then a 90-minute before the last day. So I think I got some change, seven and a
It's
half,
decent.
maybe.
It's not
Yeah.
bad. Huh.
Hmm. Yeah. I slept every
That's
night
impressive.
essentially there.
Yeah.
Every
That's
night thereafter,
impressive to be able
I
to get
slept a
it.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
it's pretty hard. So yeah, so the crew, how
Yeah.
great were they? Were there
Oh, they're
were
so
they?
great.
Do you ever get mad at them? Was there any low
No.
moments with them?
No,
No.
no. Oh my God. That's why when you saw me, I looked happy because every like no matter what has happened, I love my people so much. I get so excited to see them. So yeah, every time I come in, I'm a happy camper, no matter if like the world just ended in the section before or whatever. But I love them. They are just so amazing. Yeah, they've literally been with me for almost all my races. So it's like the best of all worlds. Oh my God. Speaking of my crew chief, what's
Yeah. We
up?
thought, wow, just I don't know how she got in here. Thought we would just have your crew chief join us for a
Oh
little
my
bit.
God.
Um,
I already called out that
uh,
you got to celebrate your birthday during the race, Julie.
well, yeah. So I was hoping you would say something incriminating right as she joined. So I was trying to get you to say something negative, but
Never.
we weren't
Nope.
able to. So thank you, Julie, for joining us, the crew chief of Katie during Cocodona 250. Originally, was going to start something else, but I just found out you celebrated a birthday, Julie, during
Sure
Cocodona. First
did.
of all, how much does Katie owe you for that?
Jeez. I think we're even now, so
Yeah.
that one made us even.
So we don't often do this, surprise people with guests, but we wanted to ask you some questions about Katie because she's just way too jolly over here. We want the nitty gritty, some dirty deets, anything you can give us,
Oh boy.
because apparently everything was just fantastic, other than balling on a trail. But yeah, how Julia, how was this crew experience for you, and how was working with Katie? She just alluded to this. You've helped her before, or this
Yeah,
isn't your
yeah.
first time? Yeah.
No, this is probably our fourth on like bigger distance stuff, just like a little stuff here and
Wow.
there. But yeah, this one is definitely the longest for one. We had a very slim down crew this year. So that one kind of made it tough. But after doing Bigfoot 2 years ago, I think that just driving that one is the intensity
Oh,
of that one, the planning of that one made this one just like a cakewalk, other than the rain and getting stuck in the mud and stuff.
wow, Jesus.
Yeah.
So, in your point of view, how was the whole crewing experience with Katie? Was she really this positive bundle of joy that she's presenting to
She
be?
really is all the time. Like
Oh,
I wish
okay.
I wish I could give you something there.
Can we get your husband on? Is he at home right now? Can we just get him on the podcast?
I do actually have a story of her.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh God,
Yeah, what
what?
story do you have? Let's
So
see if
Katie, I
this.
did want to ask you what you think of like 4 or so days in. What are you worried about while you're out there
Oh,
running by yourself? Like what are those deep worries at that
I know where you're going.
Was this somewhere you were going to go naturally without Julie here?
No,
No?
no.
All
time?
right.
No, I don't think
Eh,
so.
all right. What is it?
So Katie is known to be freakishly organized, like spreadsheets. Like she has the Yeti Go box. Everything is down to a science as we're going through things. Me and her, one of the pacers, Becca, she's like a part of the crew as well. We're all very attuned to where every little thing goes. Everything's labeled, everything's. But Bill, her husband, also on the crew, got a text on like Thursday night, 9 p.m. He says, Katie's worried about the organization of her Go box. Can you take a look at that? So that's the worst I could come up with
I mean, that kind of fits with everything, just how organized and strategic she was about approaching this race, all the questions she was asking. I mean, does she have like a bind? Is she a huge label maker? Like, does she label things as like a giant binder of instructions how to crew Katie? Anything
Oh,
like that?
yes, 100%. And I think with the one of the things for Bigfoot, and like I feel like we started crewing way before the actual race itself, just because like there was a mudslide, so like the main road got eliminated, so we had to like kind of split everything. Katie was very, very worried about how we're driving, how like she's more worried about the crew than she is about her running. So like we had to, like what I did was just Google mapped, printed it out like MapQuest style, every single option. If I had to go to aid station 1, and then 2, then 3, then back to 1. We had a plan for everything that it is. So it's more pre-crewing her so she has less to worry about in the lead up to it.
So Katie, what was going through your mind when you were, I mean, obviously you were probably just trying to distract yourself. That's usually subconsciously. We try to find things to keep us distracted. But why were you worried about the organization
I
when
don't
you should
even
have
know.
been worried about your...
I have an idea. I think you were finally thinking about the finish and all the shit you were going to have to go home to if they weren't organized. Like you could
It's
see
very
the
true.
end and you're thinking of your to-do list that you have to do when you finish. Because I feel like that sometimes too. If you're in a looped course when you're like, hey, will y'all pick up the canopy on my last loop to make sure this is going to be an easy, or how am I going to get my luggage up the stairs? Like that's my
Yeah.
new worry when I'm running.
You know, as a crew person, that's kind of jarring because, like, I get emotional, especially when Regina's racing and she's getting near the end. I just, you know, I'm just excited to see them or come into an aid station or finish. If I were to get a text message from them worried about some stuff I wasn't even on my mind, like, it just kind of pulls me out of the emotions, and I'm just like, oh, wait, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, well, it's just, were you like, how are you guys handling that
Oh my
random
God,
message?
it was funny because her husband was doing the laundry since there were so many more clothes than we were expecting, just because all the weight and everything. We were just like going back and forth, jagging each other, saying, "Oh no! The gaiters have to be folded at 35 degrees and placed in." So it made it more lighthearted for us while doing it. But then even after we were in the Airbnb, everyone was getting just like kind of hanging around. Katie's like, "Oh, I need a Sharpie," and I was like, "I'll get it." I closed my eyes and found it out of the.
Oh, I love it.
She did.
What the? Okay, I got a few questions. She had, how many pacers did she have?
2.
2. Okay, so we all, you know, as someone that's crewed, ran, and paced, we all like to do the meetup where our runners now leaving to the next aid station swapped pacers. Now, the pacer that just finished pacing the person can fall apart and be in shambles. And tell us the truth. Was there any dirty details that second Katie took off and the pacer was done, they were like, "Oh my God, she is blank. She is this," or were they in shambles? Were any of these pacers faking it until Katie left? Like,
Well, always. There's definitely the whole game we have to play of what should we tell Katie? What do we need to tell Katie? And we're like a few miles out there, they get pretty decent cell coverage sometimes. So like we'll text Jamie and we're like, we have 2 options for a sleep game plan. Should we push through this one, kind of lay the groundwork, do this, and kind of try to pre-crew her before she comes in. Actually, before I met you at Fort Tuttle, one of our pacers got injured halfway through. So Jamie, one of the other pacer had to do a lot more mileage than originally she wanted to, but we always planned it.
I feel like that's natural that you have those conversations behind your runner's back. Like, how are we going to present this? Are we going to tell them that we have this like crisis, or, you know, or do we avoid it? And I feel like every runner is different. Like some people are like, don't let me know. Like, I trust y'all, take care of your shit. Like whatever happens.
That actually happened because the van got stuck in the mud at, gosh, what was that? Mingus.
Yeah.
We were one of the 10 vans that got stuck in the mud.
At the aid station?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. We had to call a guy with ropes and took us out of there, but we were definitely playing it cool. We were like, whoop, whoop. Like every time someone would come by, I would feel like we were, like keeping the Courtney DeWalter secret.
Yeah. I don't think I mentioned this on the Rachel episode because we were mainly talking about everyone other than ourselves in that episode. Did I mention that when I left Mingus, I was driving with Jess Gomez, and I was driving the giant ass camper van, and my foot was so wet and muddy that in going down Mingus to the just straight drop, I had no control on my brake.
Oh no!
And so I was going like super slow, like a few miles an hour, and I was going so slow, and I kept having to go slower because like I couldn't just pick up speed because I couldn't brake fast enough. that eventually I had to look over and tell Jess, who was with me, it's like, I can't grip the brake. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to pull over when I can. Thankfully, there was a parking lot. Pulled over, had to wipe everything down, get a new pair of shoes. But I was shitting myself. That Mingus was so muddy, and it was such a disaster. I was just like, man, those runners think they have it bad. I don't think so, man.
It turned
Like,
our
try.
it turned a sensor on in our van that I had no idea was about. It's like an emergency braking system. So if there's something in front of you that you're going to hit, the car automatically turns the e-brake on. And the thing that was in front of us was mud on the sensor. So it was just anytime I put it into drive, it was e-braking me. So it was we had to power through that too.
So Julie, we'll ask you, is there anything that you would, and feel free to stay on. Thank you for joining us, and you can continue to chime in as we pepper Katie with more questions. But is there anything overall you'd like to say to Katie? This is the moment to do it, about her Cocodona performance. Anything you want to get off your chest, or just anything in general?
Oh, do I have a list? No. Becca wanted me to ask, are you out of your mind? As Jamie would say.
Yes.
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 But then,
ever-
like, going back to one of the things that, like, she got interviewed about at the final legs into the finish shoot, they mentioned she was a light of the ultra running community, which there's no denial about, for sure. But I did want to say, like, she actually is the one that got me into running, just going to pedal and everything like that. So she told me there was running outside of road running, and I was obsessed with it.
Wow, this is sweet. This is very sweet. So thank you, and like I said, feel free to continue to stay on as we ask Katie a few more questions, and we'll have another guest come on here shortly, kind of unrelated, that Katie knows about. I already mentioned, but Katie, we want to continue to ask you questions about the Cocodona. So the last question before I try to get you to say something bad about your crew was
Which won't happen.
was low moments during the race, which you mentioned some, and apparently we went through some of the mental things with Julie over here about you're worried about organization of your stuff. What were the highest moments
Yeah.
of this race for you?
Getting into Crown King was awesome. Like during the training run, it's just typical Crown King, which is kind of random, you know? So you're like, oh, this is kind of anticlimactic. But getting there on race day, you're just, I've watched the live stream like a crazy person for years, and to get in and see it, and like I've said before, I'm not saying this because Julie's on, like I get really pumped to see my people. So like to get to see my people and like experience what I've seen in the live stream for years was so cool. Like it was such fun energy, and I didn't want to leave. Yeah, so like they Julie was like, okay, it's been whatever. And Jamie's like, no, it's only been I was like, oh, I have more time. I was like, no, you gotta go. So that was epic. That was one of my favorites. Honestly, I mean, getting up Eldon was probably like second, because it's just one of those things again you think about forever. And I think what was super high, but also not really low, but I think the way this race finishes, it doesn't give you a chance to almost process what's happened, like if you go back to Bigfoot, which you totally should, that last 13, you're just on the road and there's nobody there. Like it's just you and your pacer. So like you have time to kind of be like, oh my God, all these days have happened, whereas like Cocodona, you get out and you're in Buffalo Park, and then all of a sudden you're on the streets, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this is it. You turn and turn and you're done, and so you didn't have time to even like think about everything that happened, you're just like, oh my God, no, I'm done. And so you're like on a high, but also like I'm weird, and I start to get sad when they're going to be over, so I was like super happy, but also like, oh man, like this thing that I've looked forward to and been planning on and building binders on for a year is now done. So it's kind of, like high and a low. But also, I mean, Sedona was also another, I should pepper that in there, because Sedona was also a high, because when Jamie and I had done it during the training weekend, again, like I was kind of saying, we're both still a little nervous, like, how are we going to, feel this many miles in? But we totally conquered it and like did it faster than we did in the training weekend. So we were like,
Wow.
all right, great. And same, like, even though the universe was wild with the way the weather was, the way my pacing and timing shook out, like we never got stuck with a section that would have been really shitty at night to do at night. We always somehow got it during the daybreak. Really, the only bad timing was that last section that I did by myself, which I didn't want to do. But it wasn't like it was bad to do it at night. I just didn't want to do it at night and by
Yeah.
myself, you know.
So you
But
did the Hangover Trail faster. Wow.
hmm
I that's
yeah.
that fear-based running, I think. As I like to allude to all the time. I get scared shitless the longer a race goes on. And somehow all I know at that moment is to keep moving,
Yeah.
compared to when I'm just fresh legged and I can just think about what am I gonna have for dinner after this? I want
Yeah.
some Taco
Totally.
Bell. It's like, ooh, what am I? And then I don't focus as much, and then it's like, oh no, I fell off a cliff. I'm dead. So fear-based running really gets
Yeah.
my adrenaline going. So I
Yep.
kind of, not that you're an FBR, but runner, but you could be. I'm gonna make that a thing. I'm trying to. I've been trying to for a while. The fear-based running, it's a real thing. But so let's talk about, and since Julie's still with us, maybe she can chime in as well. After the race, how long were you all together after the race? Because I want to know just how much of a disaster or not disaster you were immediately after the race for the few days
So,
after.
I think my crew was all very happy that we finished at dinner time because at Bigfoot I finished at like I don't know, like 9 or 10 in the
10 a.m.
morning. Yeah. And I was just like, let's freaking go. Like, I just wanted to hang out with them all day because I had missed, like, that's what I'll get into a crew spot and I'll be like, okay, y'all, what have you been doing? Like, I want to know all everyone's been doing while I've been running, you know? I feel like Stephanie, you're like, yeah, I can like relate to this. So I get so excited that now I'm done. And so now like all I get to do is like chat with you all. Like I've chatted with my pacers, but I haven't chatted with everybody together. So for Bigfoot, they were all dying because I just wanted to stay up for like hours and everyone just wanted to sleep. I will say though, like
Yeah,
the
Bill
I
went to
lost a
sleep, Gwen went to
yeah,
sleep, Jamie went to
yeah,
sleep. It was
yeah.
me and Becca, her other pacer from Cocodona, and I. And as soon as we heard Bill's door open to get up, we both booked it to upstairs. So we're tagging you in. We were running on fumes.
Yeah, they all had bets of when I was gonna go to sleep. I like blew by all those times. I was like, nope, nope. But then Cocodona, I don't think anybody bet anything because no one trusted me. But we actually all went to bed at a normal time. But then the next day, yeah, like I was like ready to hang out. You know, I don't even think I mean, I slept, but I wasn't like, I didn't go crazy. Because as soon as I can start to hear somebody stirring in the Airbnb, I'm like, I want to be up. I want to be like seeing what's going
See,
on.
I want to interrupt real
That's
fast because I mentioned this before on when I did Cocodona. I had the complete opposite experience where everyone's like, we're gonna go. Like I was like, guys, let's go to dinner when I wake up. I know you guys have to leave later, or let's go get lunch. And then they put me to sleep, and I wake up and everyone's gone, and I never see them again.
because you hate your pacers. You said
I've
you hate your pacers
I
while you're running.
haven't.
Katie doesn't.
I don't think I've seen Kirsten since Cocodona. So it's been 2 years. It's been over 2 years. Rachel, I've only seen a handful of times. I still see Kenneth. And just thankfully, I'm still with Regina. She hasn't left me. That would be weird. 2 years without seeing my girlfriend. But like,
That would be
that
bad.
was so sad. It's like it was a Home Alone experience. Everyone was
Oh yeah.
gone, and I had to text, "Where you at?" They're like, "Oh, we're taking them to the airport." And it's like, damn, no
Oh.
lunch. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mentioned that
I
before.
would have been so upset. I would have been so upset.
So yeah, what was the festivities like after the race? And then how was she moving? Is there any
Real
photo
quick, I want to say
videos?
something.
Go ahead.
In Pennsylvania, when everyone was there and I was the last to finish, um, I was so tired, but I left the like door to my bedroom open because I'm like, I want to feel like I'm a part. And
Right.
if y'all want to come talk to me, and people would pop in, and I'm like, I don't really want to sleep, but I'm so tired because I took me
Right.
like 32 hours or something. But yeah, I'm like you. I'm like, what's going on? I don't
Dude,
know if it's because I
Yeah.
come from a big family or
you don't sleep. You want to be part of the action.
Yeah.
You're on adrenaline, and you don't actually sleep for a few days. I don't know if you guys have the same thing, but it takes a while for me to get a long sleep. Because you're right, I hear a noise, I want to be part of the action.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
insane. But yeah, how were the festivities post race with your crew, and how were you moving? Are there any videos of her trying to go upstairs, or was she moving good enough to where it was like, not worth it?
Stairs weren't the problem. She was moving fine. We had to help her. Like the Airbnb was up a really steep driveway, but as soon as she got up that was fine. I think she was just on autopilot for just hills and elevation and in general. So like, I don't do well in altitude, so I was winded, and she was just like, we did.
I was like one stair at a timing, but
Yes, yeah. We went out for beers the next day, then margaritas, and then we iced her later that night, I think too.
Like it's just a bathtub full of ice, or you just like did a bedside bath
No,
or
a
icing?
Smirnoff Ice. You hide it.
Oh, I forgot. Okay,
yeah.
she told
Yeah.
me about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
We had
explain.
So we had a goal as the crew. We probably should do this just earlier next time, but like halfway through the race, we're at a Walmart just killing time. And Becca and I see the Smirnoffs, and we're like, we have to ice another crew. Like that's our goal. But at that point, we were spread out from like the crew we had gotten accustomed to because Katie was jamming through so fast. So we left them in the dust, But then we had these Smirnoff Ice. We were clearing out the van into the Airbnb, and we're like, we gotta ice someone. We were trying to ice Jamie and Katie, but she was messing around with her pack, cleaning it up, cleaning out her bladders and stuff, and she got her bladder out, and then I just jammed a Smirnoff Ice in the pack while like in between her cleaning it. We didn't make her get down on one knee, but we made her put a knee on a bench, and then she chugged it pretty good. He was a pro.
Yeah, I remember there's you showed me a picture, right, Katie?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what that was at first because it was the same. You got iced like an ice bath because that's a very
Like,
relevant
no.
trail running question.
Yeah.
But I should know. I just assume people don't drink as much as me, so I'd never go there immediately. But it's just like, oh yeah, you're having real fun.
Yeah.
But are these post-race festivities still going on? How are you feeling right now?
I mean, I wish we were all still in Flagstaff, Like, yeah, 'cause we had like 2 days in Flagstaff and then we had to go back to Phoenix and like real world, real world sucks. Like I'd rather just be on the trail world, like, forget about work and just hang out with my people. Yeah, no, I mean, well, so the one crew member pacer, Becca, lives in Denver. She's sadly left the Chicagoland area, but she'll be back in a few weeks. So we're gonna have at least the gals all back at my house to hang out, and I'm sure we'll be popping some bubbles. So yeah, trying to keep the high going.
Yeah, and are you back to doing any running, any activities of any kind?
Not yet. It's a bummer. I wanted to run. Apparently, I thought I had heat rash, but I got exercise-induced vasculitis, which meant nothing to me. But apparently, my blood vessels are injured, so I have to wait like 2 more weeks to run.
What?
Yeah, my feet. Like if you saw a picture of my feet, which I'm not going to put up on screen, they looked red like a heat rash. And my PT is like, I don't know. I feel like heat rash would be gone by now because by the time I got home and saw her, and so she like figured it out that it's apparently like your blood vessels. It looks like heat rash, but it's like you've injured your blood vessels. So apparently my blood vessels still need a couple more weeks to heal. So I'm just,
That's a pretty badass thing. Do you go around wearing that as a badge of honor? Like I've been, I
no.
ran so much I injured my entire cardiovascular system. My veins and arteries are all sorts of shit right now. So that's better than just being in a wheelchair for blisters like me. So is there anything next, or are you just gonna be chilling for now?
I'm chilling, sadly. But I was kind of laughing with the crew. I was like, maybe the third 200, the crew gets to pick where we go. So we'll see.
Yeah.
The jury's still out.
Any ideas, Julie, on that?
We're thinking Italy, I think.
Wow. I know there's more than one, but the first one that comes to mind is obviously, like, are you aware of the one in Italy, Julie?
I'm not.
Well, it goes through multiple countries, but the big one, like the one of the hardest and then probably the biggest and most popular, Tour de Gens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So no, it's the big leagues. That's most people's bucket list for 200 plus miles.
Okay, wait, that's the one that Mika came on and talked about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said there's like 30 miles of climbing. So it's like you have a day of climbing. I cannot even, anytime I'm in a spot where I climb for 4 miles, I'm like, well, at least you're not in Europe. Like,
Yeah.
it could be worse.
Yeah.
So I want to take this moment to introduce this other guest that Katie was aware was coming on. Hans Troyer, first of all, this is your third time joining us. Can you hear us?
I hear you.
Yeah, and we can hear you. But let's talk about that hair. What's going on, my man?
I've been doing yard work all day. So.
Were you on your head when you did it?
Practically. I got some like grass stuck in it, so I had to like and there's actually a bug in it as well. It's like just attracting stuff right
Oh
now.
my God. Well,
I need
thank
a
you for
haircut.
joining us, taking this time. I wanted you on here. Hans Troyer, a huge up and comer in the 100 or in the ultra running world. It's the third time he's been on. We've done a few segments where he just hops on for a few minutes. We wanted to have him on. At least I told him the reason I wanted him on was to talk about Western States. He's entering it. He's going to be doing it here in a few weeks. He's my pick to just upset everyone, although I don't think it would be an upset. So don't fail me there. But really, this is just a trap, Hans, because we're going to try to get you to do Cocodona.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we will ask you really fast about Western States. But Katie, um, have you heard of Hans before? Is this your first time meeting
No, I
him?
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Can
I've not
can
met you before, but hi.
yeah. So can you sell him on doing a 200-mile race based off of your experience at Cocodona, and why should he sign up for one?
In Western states, obviously the goal is to finish, in under, I mean, you seem competitive, so a very fast time, right? Cocodona, you still can go fast, but you get to eat real food. Like there's no gels, there's no, you know what I mean? Like why have a 120-gram carb gel when you can have a breakfast burrito? I mean, that should sell it right there.
That does sound
The
pretty
snacks are
nice.
better.
Have you
It's
have
it's
you
allowed to take naps. Like naps are allowed, like snacks, sleeping. Why not?
uh,
Why not move for a few more days? Like get your money's worth?
Yeah, I mean, it's something to think about for sure.
how does that so this Western States would be your first 100-mile attempt as well. But what's the thought process when you hear, oh, you can eat a burrito or take a nap? Can you even register that, not having done even 100 yet?
I can't. Not yet, at least. Like the 100K seem to be over so fast. So, like,
Oh, okay,
just
yeah.
like even like going through the aid stations feels so rushed. So like the thought of like sitting down for like 10 minutes,
Hmm.
that sounds crazy, but like
But it
it's
sounds
nice. I
good.
don't know. Yeah, it's relaxing. But, I'm not too good with sleep deprivation though, so I don't know how I would do in a multi-day race.
Yeah.
At least as of right now. Like I'm like a 8, 9, 10 hours a night type of person, so
Oh, yeah.
we'll see.
Hans Schroyer, young and fit, except his email, which is old and slow. One of the few people that still use Yahoo, at least that come on to this podcast. When I see the Yahoo email for the third time, I'm just like, oh, yeah, I forgot you're the Yahoo guy. Not many emails out there. But one last question about the 200s, and we're going to ask you a bit about Western States prep. Are you aware about some of the other races? Like, is there one that intrigues you, or you're not even there yet?
Like for
Uh,
200 plus miles
yeah,
or just I mean if I was gonna do one it would be Cocodona. I feel like that's the
nice.
most intriguing one of the bunch, but I also don't know a lot of them. So
Right.
I'm attracted to like the high competition level, and I feel like
Yeah.
Cocodona is moving to be like a highly competitive race. So that is more attractive now than it used to be, I guess. So maybe in a few years, like when it's like, you know, I know obviously there's some huge names that just raced, and there's huge names signed up for next year. But I think if it continues down that route, like I would become very attracted to it. But for
Did
now,
you
I feel like a lot of the big names and stuff are still Western States UTMB stuff. So yeah.
Well,
did
I'm
you
gonna.
hear about the prize money at Mammoth 200? Because that's attractive to
No,
competition.
no, I didn't.
They had
Oh,
like $5,000, 3,000, and then 2,000 for first, second, and third,
Oh
male
wow.
and female, like
male and
each.
female. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's attractive and since it's the inaugural year, they don't have that many people signed up. I know y'all wanted to convince them to do to Cocodona, but maybe you throw in
Yeah.
Mammoth in
Well,
there.
the hair on his head is starting to rise a bit. I think he's a little intrigued. Or, but yeah. So if you ever do one down the line, I'm gonna go ahead and sell the services of Katie over here and Julie, the two guests that we have on. Katie's the main guest. Julie was Katie's crew chief for Cocodona. We'll segue and talk a bit about Western States and let you get off here before we end this episode. Hans, this is it. You got the golden ticket. How was it like getting that golden ticket, and how are you feeling about going into Western States?
Oh, incredible for both. I mean, the golden ticket was it was just the most amazing day ever. And it's something that like since entering the sport, which granted has not been very long, but the past like year and a half has been so eventful, and it's been like the golden ticket is what I've been focused on the whole time. So I left it down to the last opportunity, and just the race went well, and everything was good, and I was just at a loss for words. Like the emotions were insane, and I'm still like kind of on a high from it. Like I'm finally coming back to life, having to do like yard work and stuff, bringing me back down to earth. But training is going really well. Haven't had like I had some small little like aches and pains post race, but have recovered very well from those. Starting to put in some really good training again. Lots of heat work and some verde weekends, and feeling really strong. Like I think I said something along the lines of like, I was going into canyons as an underdog, and now I feel like I could go into a golden ticket race no longer as an underdog. But for Western States, I'm still an underdog. But I feel like I'm leaning into that a lot, and feeling like I could show I could do something pretty cool at the race. So we'll see what that's gonna be. But feeling really confident and healthy right now, which is good.
Just a few more questions, we'll let you go. What's the mental aspect of knowing that you're jumping from 100K to a 100 miler? Can you comprehend that change, that distance and mileage?
I'm kind of terrified right now. I mean, as the weeks get further away from canyons, I'm gaining more confidence. But it was one of those like when I finished canyons for the first like 24 hours, just the thought of like racing, an extra 35 was like the worst thing I could think of. Like I just didn't even want to think about it. It just scared the crap out of me. As we're getting further away, I'm gaining more confidence. I really think like when I jumped from like 50K to 100K, I remember going through 50K and just being like, oh, well, that was the easiest 31 miles I've ever done. And so I'm kind of hoping that the same thing happens where I, get to Forest Hill and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm already 100K in. But I'm like mentally preparing myself for it to be like the hardest thing I've ever done. Because I think it probably will be in the latter stages of the race. But I mean, I'm just going to tackle it with the same excitement and slight obliviousness that I've tackled a lot of races, and hope that the excitement overpowers the fear. And I think we'll be good with that.
And then one last question. What crew are you bringing out there? Because I'm excited to work with them and have them crew me as I pace you for this race. But yeah, what crew are y'all bringing out there?
Yeah, I have a pretty good team out there. My wife, my parents, my brother, family friend. Then Ultra is gonna have a team out there. Hyperlight's gonna have a team out there.
Yeah.
So it'll be sweet. I think that I'll have plenty of help. But yeah, we'll have a good squad out there.
When do you head out there?
I'm actually going 2 weeks early. So
Wow.
I'm gonna go out and stay in the Palisades Village for a week. And then I'll be bouncing around between houses. I think I'm staying at like 3 or 4 total places while I'm out there. But just gonna try and get a little bit of altitude in me, because there's not any altitude where I'm at right now. And I've been chatting with a lot of people, and people are saying that that's kind of the move, is to either go out there like the day before or 2 weeks before. So
Yeah.
I figure I could have some fun and be out there for 2 weeks and just soak up the event. And I think that the benefits of the altitude will help me in the beginning of the race, because I've heard that a lot of people that stay at altitude like to make moves early to mess up the people who don't stay at altitude. So I'm trying to counter that.
Well, Hans, we're super excited. We love these updates that we feel like we were there when you made waves at Bandera, so a few years ago. So we feel like we have to just keep pestering you. I like to refer to you as Georgia's Peach. So it's really awesome. We're going to be excited following you for this race. Katie, since you are our main guest, any parting words of wisdom for Hans before he hops off here?
No, just
On the
embrace
spot.
it. Like that's your first 100. That's so exciting. Like it's always gonna hold I mean, it's always gonna hold a special place because it's Western, but it's your first. So yeah, like obviously race it, but don't forget to like pinch yourself and realize where you are too. Like it's gonna be so cool. So good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it. And
Thank,
congratulations on Cocodona. That's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you. Thank you.
thank you, Hans, for joining us. We love hearing from you. Hopefully, we can do another update after the race, no
Yeah,
matter what
absolutely.
happens. But congratulations, just in case those people are listening to this race, for winning the race, destroying the course record. It was a foot, between him and Killian at the very end, and then you guys were running together, and he told Killian, you know what, I think I'm just gonna win this race now, and then you dropped him in the dust the last 10 miles. So congratulations.
That's what I've been imagining in all my workouts is that exact scenario. So thank you.
All right, we'll let you go. Thank you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Always a pleasure hearing from you.
Yep, anytime. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too,
You
my
too.
man.
I gotta figure out how to leave.
He could just force close it. He's like, George's Peach, everyone.
Can you just
So,
throw away that apple? Wait.
can I kick him out? Remove from session. You want me to remove you? I'm
Yeah,
gonna
let's
remove
do
you. He's gone. All right. So yeah, wow, another guest appearance. What a surprising episode so far. So Katie, we talked about just how you're recovering. Is there any other tidbits you'd like to mention about this race, or surrounding it in
Did it
general?
stop recording?
No, we're still recording.
Okay, it
Oh.
lost the little header,
Oh
and
no,
it said files were uploading.
it did stop recording. Oops.
So he did not only remove him, he removed all of us.
Don't worry. Thank you for calling that out, Julie. Wow,
Yeah.
I've never had to
See,
force.
she's
Always be
cruel.
crewing.
I've never had to force someone out before.
Can we say that Andrew likes to do these like pop in 15-minute guests, and he has still not mastered it. I just want to throw that
That
out
was
there.
I
perfect.
thought I was seamless.
That was seamless.
Until he kicked us all out.
Okay, well, I've never had
Start
to kick someone
recording
out.
so I can put this on the session.
Yeah, we
We're
got
gonna
a
have to-
dead young record.
All right, and we're back. Thank you, Hans, for joining us. If you're wondering why this is not a seamless transition like it's been, in my efforts of kicking Hans out because he could not figure out how to leave from his phone, apparently I kicked us all out. So we are now recording. Dylan's going to have a field day wondering why there's 3 different recording sessions.
The first one was because Andrew crossed the boundary.
I crossed the boundary.
The third one is because Andrew likes to do these pop-ins and he still has not mastered.
It was perfect until
How to
I
do
said kick
You
Hans
can't say it
out.
was perfect. You stopped the entire recording.
Well, it'll be perfectly fine, but thanks
We're
to
back.
Thanks to Julie because she realized that it wasn't recording anymore.
True crew chief right there.
Yeah,
Yep.
true. But I was in the process of asking Katie a question, and that question was something. Katie, what was I asking you? Oh, was there any tidbits surrounding the race? Anything else that you wanted to like point out, or any funny moments, or anything we should know as we start winding down here?
Yeah, I mean, well, one, and again, not just because Julie's here, like the crew is amazing. I'm so lucky. Like you're a lucky person to have the same people want to do this crazy shit with you over and over again. I haven't apparently sold it enough where anyone wants to do the 200, but they're crazy enough to come with me. So that was awesome. And yeah, have you heard of Huda Trail, Jameson?
Oh yeah, I want his
Yeah.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
I got crew shirts for everybody, and so it was like super
Oh, is that
awesome
what you're
yeah.
wearing? Look at that. I
Yeah.
told him I want a blue and yellow, like Swedish color one down the road.
Yeah.
I know it
Oh,
takes forever. But
It does, but he's amazing. So yeah, so I don't know if you all planned it or if it just happened, but we all were in our shirts for the finish, which was that's I don't know if you heard my cat, he's freaking out. So yeah, everyone was in the shirts for the finish, which I don't know if it was planned, but okay, yeah,
Come
okay, I should have known. But yeah, but it was awesome because it was like such a cool finish line moment, because we're all just happened to be like rainbow colored Huda Trail shirts. So that was awesome. And yeah, somehow, some way, my closer pacer BF Jamie ended up running 105 miles. She claimed
That's
she'd
love.
never run. She claimed she'd never run 100. So we're like, well, you just did. So that was awesome. Yeah, Becca gets points for somehow managing all the muddiest, rainiest, nasty sections. Her foot like still is red, she said. Like she had this like blown up red foot and it's like still red. It's like a month later. Craziness. Yeah, Julie celebrating a birthday like in the middle of the race. Like, come on, like that's a highlight. Like, also, I'm just gonna throw out there. I think the lasagna at Mingus was okay. It's okay. The tacos at Jerome this year were the best tacos I've ever had in my entire life. Give me a margarita and call it a day.
Well,
Like that
so
was restaurant quality tacos. And they also had these random, wasn't that the cinnamon roll waffles too?
Oh yeah, I was thinking John D at that last one with the
Oh, that one was
quesadillas.
that was
Yeah,
good too. Yeah, the guy at the last, what was his John?
John
What does he go
D.
by though? But I guess he's like the food guy for like UTMB and all that too.
wow.
Yeah.
You all talked to him more than like, but I had an amazing quesadilla. I took one to go that Jamie then got to hold for like 10 hours. Tasting is
Um,
awesome.
I'm gonna go say I'm not a lasagna fan at all. But the ones at Mingus, it's because I didn't have them by itself. I put them in a pancake, drizzled it with
Oh,
syrup.
yeah.
So that's why. If I ever talked up the lasagna itself, you got to understand, I did not eat a lasagna. It was a whole new creation.
It was
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
It was in a
Fair.
pancake with syrup on it. Obviously, I fall apart earlier than most people. So 120 miles in, everything is just any sort of food. I'm in survival mode. Tastes
I
great.
think you should give yourself some credit because 120 miles is farther than I've ever done, and I fall apart way earlier than that, like half of that.
But yeah, so yeah, what about you, Julie? Any lasting impressions of this whole experience? Thank you for joining us and being able to, I guess, to surprise her. Unless you already told her that you were
No,
gonna hop
no.
on. Okay.
No, she's good. She can keep a secret. If it was reversed, I'd be like, oh my God, Julie, get
Yeah.
it.
No, it's just always fun to crew Katie. It's she makes it easy for sure, as easy as it can be. It's still a lot. I don't know, just like being in the camper van and just taking off for a week is awesome. We make our own food creations in the van too, so we get to have our own fun there.
Since
Yeah.
you're alluding to it, does this mean Tour de France is next? And I think you should just say yes before you look it up, and then just
I'm
start
I'm
planning
ready to
for
go
it.
to Italy. Like,
There we go.
look, if we're talking lasagna, let's just go there.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be the best
Do
lasagna.
side
Yeah.
by side. Yeah.
Lasagna's overrated, man. I'm not gonna
I don't
lie.
like
Now I'm on a
lasagna.
tangent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
I am Italian too, so it's like I
well,
can't really
that's
get behind
is that
it.
illegal or
Yeah.
racist? What is that? That's not
Yeah.
right. I don't know, something like that.
It's cultural appropriation.
Well,
I
thank you
have
all.
a question before we do the can't let it go.
Ooh.
Okay, so how was the organization when you got back to your shit?
It
Was it
was
really
it
bad?
was perfect. No, it was
Oh,
perfect. It
Perfect
didn't
beforehand.
That's
it
crew chief
was.
right there. Like that is
was.
true crewing. I don't ever like usually it's maintained. It depends on I'm gonna be serious. It depends on the gender of the person crewing me. Males are not that organized. The females will be organized, and then there's a point where they start pacing, and it's like everything goes out the window. But
No, it was
that's
perfect.
awesome that it was
For the
still
record,
together.
it was organized when she asked.
It
to
was.
be
It
organized. We were
was.
just moving stuff around, and I kept handing things to Gwen, her daughter. So she's just like
Mhm.
holding 27 things. So she's like putting stuff, and Katie's just like looking at this one Ziploc bag with 30 different non-sanctioned items in it. So
You get a shower caddy. That's another way to like carry like the stuff that she needs
Yeah,
right away
the
too.
box. Like, if you've not seen these Yeti boxes, they're incredible. Like look up the
Oh, I
Yeti Go
googled it
box.
while we were
Yeah.
on here.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're a little bit of an investment, but they're amazing, and you can
I-
sticker bomb them, and it's so fun. Yeah.
I have my own creation of a snackle box. That's-
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that I have.
Katie, I have
Yeah.
another question that's completely unrelated. Where were you
Okay.
born and raised?
Elk Grove Village, Illinois.
Okay, so you're just straight up from Illinois. Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
There are elks in Elk Grove, in case you're curious. That's about it, though.
I was more wondering
That's
if there was groves, but yeah, elk is cool too.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and then just
And-
Chicago. I was explaining to them in the very beginning, Julie, that like we are Chicago, like not
Yeah,
suburban.
people-
Yeah.
We're Chicago.
I don't know if I have to like, a lot of people just say their city just to make it easy, but then you actually, if you know them and you're just like, no, I'm not from Chicago. I'm from Chicago O'Hare, or
Yeah.
which I know that's born in an airport. A disaster, by the way, flying in there sometimes. Anyways, one last thing I forgot to mention is that Katie is a coach, and whether she realizes if I was joking or not, I'm not. I'm going to hire her as a coach in the future because I'm
Yay.
uncoachable, haven't had one. So Katie will be my coach sometime in the near future once I get my shit together. I need to find out if I can run still, because I just can't. But yeah, so it's really happening.
Woohoo.
Putting it on the podcast. Yeah, check out her
Love it.
coaching services, and we'll link it. Unless she's full, I have no idea. I should have asked that first. But
No, I'm good. I'm
forcing
good. I have some spots. I have
forcing
some
myself
spots.
on her. So
Awesome.
very experienced running coach. I was surprised Stephanie had nothing to say about that. I was waiting. She's just gonna let it go.
I feel like I've been giving you a hard time lately. So
Well,
I'm
yeah.
gonna keep my mouth shut.
After the beginning of this
I was like,
episode, this is a 2.5 hour, 1.5 hour podcast. No, it wasn't 2.5 hours, but it's getting up there. But so we're gonna end this as something as we like to call "Can't Let It Go." I'm sure Katie's aware of what that is, but Julia, "Can't Let It Go." Thank you for sticking the rest of this out with us. By
Yeah.
the way, a lot of just random curveballs.
Honestly, I couldn't figure out how to get out either. So
because Andrew has still not mastered segments.
I feel like Stephanie doesn't.
And I
know
love that
how-
we're videoing it now so everyone can see my air quotes when I said that.
Yeah, so this will be available on YouTube since we're gonna start doing all that. But Can't Let It Go is
Or
basically
Dylan's going to start doing all
Dylan's
that.
gonna stitch the fuck out of this episode together because it just kind of fell apart. Except for the first recording, we're gonna delete that. It never happened.
Yes, thank you.
Katie got to see some of our background shenanigans. A lot of guests get to, but we don't usually air it. So now it's being aired. It wasn't as bad as
I didn't hear
last
anything.
week's-
It's all good.
It wasn't as bad as last week's with Candace though. So with that, but anyways, we won't talk about that. It had nothing to do with Candace. It was more another topic. Should we edit this out too?
Okay, we can just
we should
talk
edit
about
this
like
out.
when you set boundaries, you also have to reinforce the boundaries, and then that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Stephanie crossed boundaries last
I'm going to
week.
therapy
just
now,
gonna
so
say
I'm
that.
using these big words.
I can't let it go, Julie. I can't let it go is anything that's been on your mind, running or non-running related, that you don't mind putting out there, like maybe a goal or something that you're kind of just focused on, you don't mind sharing. So an example, I'll go first right now. Still struggling to run a bit, but I got to bang a new job, and I actually may end up moving to day shifts soon and get kind of the schedule that I want, faster than I thought. So I'm kind of just trying to wait this time period out. I know I said I was going to do Mammoth, and I still want to, but I need to figure out this work-life balance with this brand new job. That sounds like it'll be amazing, but you know, in the medical field, everything runs slow, so who knows? But in the time being, I'm struggling to run a bit, but I'm okay with it. Regina's back to running a good amount. We had an amazing weekend where she did a 3-minute run interval, and then 4 or 5, and then she's doing 7-minute pace for 3 minutes, which is like, so there's not much more time I'm going to be able to run with her. So I'm enjoying all this. We're about to go heat map after this, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it since it's Global Run Day. So that's my Can't Let It Go. So yeah, Stephanie, what about you?
Okay, so we just had Achilles Hills. It's a local, like, fat ass, like, everyone gets together 48 hours, and the women swept the field. So, last person standing, he's Ben Bridgman, who race-directs it. He specifically calls it last person standing instead of last man standing. And so when people would come to pick up their bib, they'd be like, I'm here for the last man standing. I'd be like, you're here for the last person standing. And so I was rooting for Jacqueline or Jackie, Love Lady. I feel like I'm going to say that wrong.
No, that's right. You're good.
That is right. Okay. And so not everyone knew her. And I was like, she is going to win it because, of course, I'm picking a female and there was lots of females. And so she did win it. And she said because every time they came in, I'm like, I'm rooting for the women. And so she said that she could not quit because there's so many like hyped up women. Okay. The mass amount of miles was ran by a woman, 130 miles. Someone who's only done 100 before. And then that's Alyssa Hardy. And then Lisa Decker rucked 20 pounds for 100 miles. It's all exposed heat. So that was the hard part.
It's a truly terrible course. Like asphalt side surface road. It's just terrible.
And then Amy Garcia, who did 100K at Dino Valley in 25 hours, did 100K in 12-ish hours. So like PR'd by like less than half her time. So I think that's super badass. And then Beth Gilday, who I met at Badger last year, so August last year, she did her 10th Mohican so she got 1,000 miles. It's the first female in the history of Mohican that has done 10 Mohicans to get the 1,000 miles. It's only males that have done it. So I think that's super badass. And I ran with her at Run Woodstock as well. So it's like celebrating like all the women this weekend that knocked it out of the park.
And there's nothing but women on this podcast except for Hans. And this is the year of the women, as Stephanie likes to say.
Hey,
For
and
the
I would
third
like.
year in a row.
Okay. So I fact checked that. So every time they say that we're doing the third year of the women, I'm like, no, it started on this day. So I went to that podcast, and when I brought it up, y'all said it was the year of the women again. So maybe it is 3 years, because I thought I brought it up for the first
I'm
time in
sorry. I thought you were about
2024.
to correct us, but it turns out
No, I think y'all were
not.
right.
It's the third year of the women.
So I'm not
so-
sorry about it though.
So as you can see, Julie, most of the time it's only about running or can't let go because and this opens our eyes all the time. It's like, wow, we need to get a personal life. Oh, I did some yard work today, or I put up a fence post.
Nobody
that was
cares
pretty
about
cool.
that.
No, but I did. I was almost died. I was proud. I earned my worth around here, so Regina keeps me in the house. So Julie, what about you? Anything you don't mind sharing that's been on your mind?
Yeah, I had this in December. I had foot surgery, so I'm like after chronic plantar fasciitis for forever, it seems like. So, getting back into running, similarly to your girlfriend, I think. So getting those, just piecing some trails together. But my goal to do probably next spring in May is to do a pilgrimage in Scotland to the
Wow.
most remote bar in Scotland.
Oh.
So it's like a 20-mile hike through the Highlands, and the only way to get to this town is to hike in there or take a ferry out in. So what I want to do is go like run in. You get a free beer if you do the hike in at the Old Forge bar, it's called, and then stay in like little town huts called wee hooses, and then take the ferry out when I feel like it.
Hell yeah.
And I think I just convinced someone else at the gym to do it with me. So
Wow, we may have convinced us, to be honest. That's all
I
I'm
know.
good for right now. Like I run just to drink. I know that I shouldn't be saying that, but right now I'm still celebrating
yeah,
something. I don't know what I'm celebrating, but I am. So thank you for those awesome words. I may follow up on that bar thing in Scotland. You piqued my interest with that. So Katie, we're gonna end it with you. Thank you so much for joining us on this
Thanks for having
awesome,
me.
incredible, surprising, shocking episode that had everything from background bantering, pre-podcast rambling, and treachery and betrayal between Stephanie and I, and everything in between with these special guests, with Julie joining us, and then Hans giving us an update. And I think you may have convinced him. We'll see. But we're gonna end it with you. Anything that's been on your mind you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I mean, still trying to process Cocodona. I'm still trying to finish my race recap, which, if you know me, they're long, but 250 miles is a long way. So I'm trying to wrap that up. But yeah, just like, again, just feel so lucky to have the people that I had with me, like my closest people in the entire world. And I think too is just like putting my mom hat on for a second. Like we got to celebrate Mother's Day that weekend, and like having, like feel so grateful that my daughter was able to be there, because literally like that's like all the ladies that were there to help are like Gwen's aunts. We have a really small family, so it's family by choice. So yeah, like her getting to also spend just like really awesome time with like 3 killer badass women is just like super special. I mean, her dad was there too. Bill's okay, but it's awesome for my daughter to be surrounded with these amazing women for a week too, while I'm off doing my thing, and her to see that and be with them, and just getting to have that whole experience is just like, yeah, I wish that I could do one again sooner, but I'll maybe excited for 1 in 2 years, whatever the crew decides. Maybe it's Italy. All right, here we go. So that's what I can't let go.
Or maybe Mammoth. I saw you.
I really wanna
had
do
some
Mammoth.
interest in Mammoth. I
I
think
do
I
wanna do
saw a
Mammoth.
comment like in 27 or 26. I don't remember what it was.
27. Yeah.
Yeah, 27. So, all right. So, Tour de Jeans, we'd love to have you back on for that. So, actually, we may just have you on, do a guest segment to do some coaching updates to see how
He's
I'm
gonna
doing.
have you on as a reoccurring guest.
Yeah, at this rate. All right, Stephanie, I told you we can't talk about this, okay? We can't talk about guest co-hosts on air. Now What did I say before the episode?
I did not use that
Stephanie.
word. Edit it. I'm gonna beep it out.
So hopefully Dylan's back next week to keep us in check. But anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us, Katie.
Thank you.
You had an incredible Cocodona. It
Thank
was
you.
awesome seeing you out there. You're always
Yeah,
a bundle
same.
of joy, in person and online. And also, I'm just always shocked. You always look taller than I imagine you are at Bandera and at Cocodona. I don't know why. I was just like, every time it's like, oh, Katie's gonna be there. If I see her, just remember she's taller than I thought she was. And I don't
It's
even
my
know if you're.
shoes.
I don't know if
It's
you're
the
tall or
ultras.
not. It's just like, I'm
ultras.
just. I don't know. It's just like, oh, maybe you are short, but my state of mind paints you as a taller person. But thank you. A weird note to end on, which is in brand for us.
Dylan,
So
end us
edit
off.
this out. So we're gonna end this
Hey,
episode.
we should have Dylan do endings for us. Add it in. I wonder if we could figure it out.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. We're gonna be ending this. Thank you guys. It's gonna be great.
Thank you.
As always,
Happy
Monos.
endings.
Happy endings. Monos.